What's really at the heart of the PC versus console debate? Maybe it goes deeper than just graphics and processor speeds. For decades, two groups have warred endlessly. I'm talking about PC gamers versus console gamers. They are constantly fighting with each other. To give you an idea of how explosive this issue has become, a very kind and friendly viewer named Mega Game Overload gave the very straightforward and diplomatic suggestion that we simply do an episode about PCs and consoles, which is what we're doing right now. But the very suggestion of talking about PCs and consoles incited a debate in itself. But it's not just you guys. This argument is everywhere. Check out this 10,000 word epic in defense of PCs. And on the other side, there's tons of flame-baity articles arguing that the console is king. Look, we all love games. You wouldn't be watching this show unless you did. But can't we just get along? No. We're not that mature, but maybe there's something deeper going on. Time to head to the PBS Game Show versus Stadium to settle this thing once and for all. First up, the controls.
Round one, fight!
Hey there, I'm a console gamer. And I'm a PC gamer. Whoa, hold on, buddy. Jamin was clearly talking to me. Anyway, controls. The console gamepad is custom made for gaming. Microsoft spends millions of dollars making sure that every controller is just right. They even experimented with a smell-emitting controller, which is exactly what it sounds like. Anyway, controller design for consoles, totally perfect. Oh, okay, controller console design is perfect. All right, let me ask you a question. Do you like using your hands? I mean, do you fully comprehend that our hands are what makes us different from every other living creature on this planet? Because if you do, then you'll use a keyboard or mouse the way that God intended. And besides, games like Dota 2, League of Legends are way too complicated for console. Look, if I really want to debase myself, really want to embarrass myself after a bad day, then I'll plug my Xbox controller into my PC, thank you. Plug it in. Next up, and this is a big one, firepower.
Round two, fight!
PCs have better graphics with higher resolution at smoother frame rates. It's not even close. I mean, have you seen what Watch Dogs looks like on PC? It's criminal, man. But it takes a whole lot of time and money to do something like that. You have to build your own PC and then make sure the settings are all right, and then if something's wrong, you spend hours on the message boards debugging it. I just want to buy a disc, pop it in, and play. And finally, exclusivity.
Finish him!
Games by big, amazing publishers like Rockstar are made with consoles in mind. If and when they get ported to PC, they're a buggy nightmare. I mean, look, we have the best design teams in the world working for us. If you guys were so important, if the experience in PC was so superior, wouldn't they just release to it first? Oh, right, they don't. Who cares, man? I mean, like, seriously, like, who actually cares? We've got tons of awesome mods, man. We got Morrowind remade in Skyrim. We got GTA 4 mods like that crazy piano one. There's Gary's mod if you're in the mood for a little bit of humor. Plus tons of tiny games that couldn't afford to be on your fancy schmancy consoles. We've got more games than you'll ever had. Can you green screen in a mic? Because I need to drop it. Okay, I don't think that PC gamers and console gamers hate each other naturally. The reason that people get so upset is that this argument taps into deeper competing visions about what technology is ultimately for. It's an ideological fault line masquerading as a flame war about graphics. To understand this, we need to take a step outside of the world of games and look at a little company called Apple. This is about a difference of visions between the two founding Steves, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. All right, bear with me. I've already got one can of worms open by even talking about PC versus console, so I'm not trying to open up another about Apple fanboys. I'm just looking at the company from a historical perspective, so please, just a little bit of patience. Steve Jobs thought it was really important that computers were easy to use. That's why the Apple mouse only had one button. For him, it was all about the beauty of top-down design. But Steve Wozniak, who was a hacker at heart and designed the Apple I and II, wanted freedom and complexity. The original Apples, for example, had external screws, so you could take them apart and tinker with them. Wozniak said that he made the first PCs to give people the tools to rise above powerful institutions. The open versus closed mentality caused a huge fracas between these founders, and Wozniak ultimately quit. But what they were arguing about, and what PC and console gamers still argue about today, is this question about whether technology should be something that we consume or something that we create. So on the one side, you have PC gamers who wholeheartedly subscribe to the Wozniakian ideal of what's called generativity. Generativity states that open technology has the important capacity to allow users to create new and unexpected things. And by custom building their machines and ultimately their experiences, PC gamers are contributing to this type of generativity. Console gamers, on the other side, abide by a Jobsian mentality of technology. They want smooth, immersive experiences without potentially frying their motherboard when installing new RAM. That means they'll be willing to sacrifice generativity for the sake of consistency. Steve Jobs himself has argued that most people don't have the time to tinker with their machines. They just want something that works. Personally, I think that we need both. We need PC gamers to be the pioneers, to push games to the limits of complexity and freedom. On the other side, we need console gamers who demand elegance and simplicity.
Oh my god, this is awesome.
The PC console debate will surely rage on, but understand they're just two sides of the same coin of technology. So what do you think? Are PC and console gamers actually engaging in an ideological discussion about what technology is ultimately for, or does one side just suck? I know what you're gonna say. As a quick aside, you'll notice that I didn't invoke or even joke about any of this PC master race nonsense that's been going around. Why? Well, the master race concept was devised by the Nazis as part of their ideology, which explained why they were superior to mixed-blooded people such as myself. So you can probably understand how that turned out. If you're making jokes about it, you probably shouldn't, and if you still are, at least know what it is that you're joking about. Seriously. Anyway, hash it out in the comments, and if you like what you saw, please subscribe. I'll see you next week. Last week, we talked about my picks and my rationale for the most creative video games. And a lot of you had some amazing suggestions. The games of Peter Molyneux, Spec Ops The Line, Simogo's Device 6, all incredible picks. But let's see what else you had to say. Linking Yellow says that what makes or breaks a game is its gameplay, and says that I ignored gameplay and they were a little bit saddened by that. To which I say, I'm very sorry about that, but here's the thing. Gameplay as a term is a little bit amorphous. It's kind of like saying in film, oh, you talked about the movie, but you didn't talk about the moving pictures, right? All of games are gameplay at some level, and I would argue that all the games that I mentioned, the things that made them most creative were, was its gameplay, so to speak. So the influence of MC Escher on a game like Echochrome influenced how you play the game itself, the influence of gardening in a game like Pikmin, so I feel like we're on the same team here. 8-Bit Nation throws two games in as entrants for most creative, No Man's Sky and Cuphead, both excellent selections. No Man's Sky looks incredible. I think the influence from visual design is pretty clear there. Here's the other thing. Cuphead is incredible in large part because of its animation, the fact that they're doing everything cel shaded by hand, this throwback to the pre-Hays Code era Steamboat Willie animation style. It's pretty amazing, so I hope to see more games like those. Matthias shares my loathing for the brutalist structure of Boston City Hall. It was designed by I.M. Pei, and I remember every time I saw it, I was just like, that is an ugly, ugly building. In any case, there's this saying that all architects should be doomed to live in the houses that they create. So yeah, unfortunately, maybe I.M. Pei should be in prison there. Arrow of Darkness points to a mistake I've made 2 times now for the creator of Mario and Donkey Kong. It's Shigeru Miyamoto, not Shigeru. I know, hard G, not a soft G. But it's not that big of a deal, right? It's not like he's the world's greatest living game designer or anything like that.